Hello everybody, Steve Hootman here at the Rhododendron Species Botanical Garden, and we're going to look at 2 or 3 interesting trees, interesting in the fall especially, here at the RSBG. So it is early October, and you think, oh, there's not going to be much in bloom, but you'd be wrong. No, actually you'd be right. There isn't much in bloom, but there are things in bloom out in the garden, even in October. This, for instance, which looks like a little mini camellia, is a tree called a Schima, S-C-H-I-M-A, or Schima, or Schema, or Schima, however you like to pronounce that. But it is basically an evergreen tree relative of camellia. So it's in the same family as a camellia. Very similar flowers. Here's the foliage. It's a widespread genus in Asia. Fully evergreen, beautiful glossy leaves, often glaucous underneath with a waxy coating, not always. This is one called argentea, which means silvery. And you should be surprised, as I am, that this tree, which I planted probably 25 years or so ago, is still alive, because 20, 30, 40 years ago, you would not have thought of planting a Schima in the Pacific Northwest. That would be a plant you would see in San Francisco Bay, New Zealand, climates like that. But it turns out some of them are actually quite hardy. Obviously, this one's fully hardy, from seed collected by Dan Hinckley in China way back in 1998, and now probably 50 feet tall, and comes into flower in September with hundreds and hundreds of these tiny little white camellia flowers, which you can see scattered all over the floor of the forest here. So that is a Schima. It's a genus that some people would lump into, botanists would lump into one species, other people split them out into 12 or even 15 different species. It's quite variable in the wild, which is why they split it out as different species. Not all of them are hardy, unfortunately. We do have a pretty good collection here in the garden, and most of them are down in the big leaf collection if you want to come and see them for yourself. But I have seen Schima trees, for instance, in the eastern Himalaya with a girth like this, that were probably 150, 200 feet tall, and the flowers that big around, and you only knew it was a Schima because there were big giant white camellia flowers all over the trail as we hiked up into the mountains. So pretty amazing plant. If you can grow it outside, it's spectacular. Again, fall blooming, and again, that's a Schima in the T-Ace. This is another one that gives us very good ornamentation in the autumn. This, which is normally pink, the pink is gone, is the fruit of a styrax, or Japanese snowbell relative, called Rehderodendron, not Rhododendron, but Rehderodendron. This thing is super heavy, hard as a rock, and if you bury that in the soil, it will take 3 years to germinate. So extremely rare tree in cultivation. Again, it's in the Styracaceae, so in April it will have hanging panicles of little fringed, fragrant white bells, quite beautiful in flower, and if it's in a good sunny spot, you will get red fall foliage color. So Rehderodendron, this is from seed collected by me on my first trip to China in 1995. I was fortunate to find this, and sat on the ground and put my foot up against the trunk and kicked as hard as I could and snagged quite a few fruits, which germinated here back at the garden. And those original trees are now out in the garden. They're now 29 years old and have been flowering and fruiting now for probably 15 years or so. But it's a real good one. We sell it occasionally. Super tough in our climate. And again, you get these really cool fruits that, if they're in enough sun, come out pink and red. And the wildlife is really hot for those as well, the squirrels, etc. And I used to fight the squirrels for these, trying to collect them to sow them to distribute to our membership and the interested public, but the squirrels would harvest them all. And then we realized eventually, with Rhododendron trees coming up all over the garden, that we could let the squirrels do all the work and just go out and dig up the little baby trees, which is what we do now. Anyway, that's a really great one. That was probably my best tree day in 2 years of being in Asia. We got Rehderodendron and Tetracentron, which we will look at next. A hardy form of Mangletian cygnus, which is a red-flowered magnolia that's evergreen, and the famous dove tree, Davidia involucrata, all in one day in one forest. That was a really good tree day. Anyway, that's Rhododendron. Here's the name for your reference, and that's one to keep an eye out for. Good, beautiful thing. We're going to look at our third and final tree this fine October day. It's a beautiful 70-degree day out. This is another one that I collected that very same day with the Rehderodendron. This is an extremely rare tree in cultivation called Tetracentron sinense. And it is in gorgeous full bloom, or just a bit past actually. It does bear catkins, so it's a very primitive wind-pollinated tree, which was once thought to be a link between gymnosperms or conifers and flowering plants. It bears elements in its wood that are like gymnosperms that other angiosperms or flowering plants don't have. Very primitive tree, widespread in the wild. I've seen it in Sikkim in the Himalayas, all the way through China into Vietnam. So it's quite widespread. This one is from seed I collected in China in Sichuan in 1995. So it's 29 years old now and doing quite well. And I would guess that it's maybe the best specimen in North America. I put it right on the edge of this ditch. That's one of the benefits of taking notes and seeing plants in the wild. I knew they liked a lot of water, and so this one does get plenty of water, and the soil here is fairly good. Anyway, this is the heaviest it's ever flowered this year. It's absolutely loaded with thousands of catkins. And this form, which is one of 3 that I grow in the garden, I consider to be our best. It has the most bolate foliage, and in November it will turn golden yellow with chocolate brown veining. Just stunning. But even now it's a beautiful foliage variety. Probably my favorite tree in the entire garden. That is Tetracentron sinense. That'll get 200 feet eventually. So it's a big fella, deciduous, and until recently was in its own family. So it's the only species in the genus, the only genus in the family. That has been changed recently, and you can look that up. Anyway, beautiful tree, Tetracentron sinense. You can come and see our specimen. It's right up from the nursery on the main road or the main path. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our 3 trees. All are very special and all are best in the autumn. So come out and check them out sometime. Take care.